Hey everybody, before we get to our episode today, we actually have a little bit of an announcement. Because I figured there might be a handful of you over here from the Finding Mr. Hype podcast due to our announcement over there, which is that I will be leaving the Finding Mr. Hype podcast. I honestly don't know really what exactly to say other than I very much have enjoyed my time doing that pod. I just have hit a point with my career and comedy stuff that I need to do something that is more comedy focused. And that is partly why I brought back doing this show. I changed it up. I got a comedian co-host with me here, my gal T. And I just wanted to say if you came over here to check out this show, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate it. And let us know what you think of this show. Give us a little feedback. If you want to leave a comment, if you're watching on YouTube, you want to send me a DM, anything like that, I really appreciate it. Basically, I just am in a crossroads a little bit of a few things, career, life-wise, and I had to just do some thinking about, like, where do I see myself? Where do I want to see myself in a few years? And right now, I've been for a while, not just right now, if you listen to that show, or you've been listening here, dating has just not really been at my forefront, and I have a lot of career pushes and things I need to focus on and do, and I think it is not only what's best for me, but I think it's also what's going to be best for Allie and that show. So, the show's still going to continue over there. We're going to continue over here, and it was 100% my decision, and I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's just I wasn't happy doing the show anymore, but just entirely for like personal reasons. And I've been in the podcast game a long time, and the dating podcast game specifically a long time, and it can be a lot. People know it. It just can be a lot when you're just trying to date, using dating apps, using whatever you're using, putting yourself out there. We all know that you can kind of hit a wall sometimes, and I've hit a wall like a few times this past year, but I just have not been able to really bounce back, and I gotta like remove myself from doing a solely dating focused podcast. So hope people understand, and I truly wish Allie nothing but the best, and excited to see what she does with the show, because it is continuing. So I don't really know what else to say other than onward and upward, and it can be very scary to make a pivot, do something new. I just have a lot of like career, personal stuff that I feel is like just in limbo, and I need to focus on it more, and it was taking too much time and energy for me to be doing that pod. Like I said, I appreciate you guys tuning in here if you are, and hope you enjoyed the show, and leave us some feedback. So, thank you. And yeah, that was like, I know, like you just had to sit through that too, but hey.
Erica, well put.
And I'm like, I don't know if that was eloquent enough, but
and welcome to Two Stand-Up Gals.
Yeah, welcome to Two Stand-Up Gals.
Here we go.
So enjoy the episodes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Two Stand-Up Gals. I am your co-host, Erica Spira.
And I'm Teresa DeGatano. Hi, everybody.
Welcome back. We are in studio again.
Woo, studio.
In person, which is so much fun. I'm so excited to be here. So if you are listening to this episode, you can watch us on YouTube. It's a little better quality than our ones that we record virtually. So if you prefer to watch the show, you can go watch the show. And if you want extra episodes, you can check us out on Patreon, which is still patreon.com/Shooters Gotta Shoot, because this is formerly the Shooters Gotta Shoot podcast, but as you know, we have changed it up here. It's me and my gal T. So talk to me, T.
Talk to me.
What do you want to start with this week? What segment? What thoughts? What do we got?
It's, it's been an interesting, last couple of weeks. I got in trouble at work.
Oh, sure.
I bartend for a living, and
all right.
I can get a little spicy. Besides doing stand-up, I also bartend, and I was covering a 4 a.m. shift on a Saturday night.
When's the shift start if you go till 4 a.m.?
That starts at 7. So 7
Damn.
p.m. to 4 a.m. And I get in a bad mood at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. because I don't want to be there. All right. Like I just like full out, like I've been trying to do like a healthy lifestyle in the fact that I get up, I exercise. My normal shifts are 11 to 8:30, which is a long shift. Yeah.
You've been at this bar a long time, so you have the sweet spot shift, right? You're usually Monday through Friday.
Tuesday, Thursdays, Fridays, 11 to 8:30.
So you no longer have to do.
I don't have to work weekends. I just pick up to help out my
Okay.
coworkers, and also Mama likes a little extra money a lot of times too.
Yeah.
So, and they're good shifts. Like they're so
Just background for the listeners.
Background
here,
for
so
the
they
listeners,
understand. You've done your time at the graveyard shift.
Mm-hmm.
So reasonably so, you're like these fucking drunk ass people.
Yeah, and also I'm not. Some people are good with the night shifts. That's like their schedule. But I've been like really trying to like I work out in the mornings, trying to like, I work out before work usually. And so it was 2:45 a.m. And this is something to talk about. I'm from the generation, Erica, where if no one's drinking, we go home. We don't sit at the bar. Like we leave. Like so
At least don't crowd the bar area for sure.
Yeah,
Go sit
like,
at the table in the back.
So there's like 4 people came in, and like 3 of the girls went to go to the bathroom together in one bathroom, which it's a solo stall. So I was like, okay, I don't know what they were doing, but
Cocaine,
like,
probably.
yes, I'm let Erica say that one.
Yeah,
So,
cocaine, maybe a little Molly, a little something going on.
so 2 of the girls go and order drinks at the other side of the bar, and this couple sits. And I want to say they were maybe 30. I don't know. They sat at the bar, and I was like, hey, how you guys doing? Like, this is everything we have on tap. And they sat right where you sat when you came in. And they were like, oh, we're not ready yet. Gave them a couple minutes, came back. And I was like, can I get you anything? They're like, we need a little bit more time. And I was like, okay. I gave them like a solid 10, 15 minutes. And I was like, so they were on their phones laughing, looking at some video, whatever. And I was like, well, they're like, we're good. We're not going to get anything. And I said, well, you do have to order something or you can't sit at the bar. Like this baffles me. So
And this is what time of the night?
it's 2:45 a.m.
So
and
you're just coming to this bar to hang out.
Yep. And so I said, or you have to leave. Like you can't. And I was nice about it. But then they went and sat at a table with their friends. Now I wish they would have just done that to begin with.
Well, yeah.
Because
Makes sense.
And so I was like, because I said to them, I was like, well, it's, so I went over then when they were at the table. I was like, oh, okay. Like now you're going to sit at the table. And that's when I got a little fired up. And
Yeah, or at least tip me. Know the fucking game.
or
I'm
just
the bartender.
Well, it was me and another person working. It's all bar service at that hour. And so they sat at the table, and then that's when we had some words where I was like, oh, okay. They're like, well, why are you so rude? I was like, you're rude. This isn't your living room. You can't just come in here and like, they're like, yeah, we can. That's how bars work. I was like, well, I don't know what bars and restaurants you go to that you're gonna sit in front of me for 15 minutes and not order anything. Okay. Like I wish they just would have gone to the table to begin with, because I didn't realize they were all with these other people that were there. There was like 6 total. And the girls,
but still.
and then
you get something. But that's why I said tip. Like if you're smart, because I've gone to a bar not really wanting to drink and I wanted to get a water or a seltzer, I fucking tip the bartender.
Yeah.
Because I know how the world works, and I'm like, this is fucking annoying that I'm in here having a water, but here's $5 for you.
Yep.
Appreciate your time.
That's sweet. That's
Like,
very
I know
sweet.
what's up.
And that's
And because that makes the bartender happy, so they're not on my ass. So anyway.
And well, then the girl goes, well, can I look at a menu? And I'm like, oh, you looked at a menu. I gave you the menu. And so that's when Feisty Teresa comes out. And the menu is like a scan code. So I take it and I sat it down in front of her and I was like, here. And so they like, the one friend, she missed the whole first interaction. So they go to leave. They're complaining to the bouncer. The bouncer was a substitute bouncer. He's not even on staff. He was filling in. So he was like, yeah, they were upset. And I didn't say anything else after that. That was it. I just didn't. And then the one girl was staring at me. I stared at her, back at her, whatever. So
Complain to the bouncer. Who the fuck these people think they are?
the girl videotaped me. The friend videotaped me.
When you came over and said you have to order something?
And when I went to the table, the friend who missed the whole first interaction had her phone out like this, which I didn't realize she was videotaping me.
How old are
She
these
sent
girls?
it late 20s, I want to say.
Please.
Early 30s. So she emails the bar and sends the videotape. And they asked to get their drinks comped, which they only had.
What the fuck?
They only had like one round, so that wasn't the big deal. But she said, I don't really want this to get out. I'm also a bartender. And I couldn't believe how rude the bartender was.
Shut
and I was
up.
like, you're not a bartender.
You're not
okay?
a bartender. There's no way.
There's no way.
Let me see your pay stub, bitch. I would not believe it.
I was like, or you've got some bad karma coming your way. Also, it's 3, at this point, it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Did she say what bar she worked at? Because I wouldn't believe her unless she gave me the bar.
No. But so I got sat down talking to, because then they messaged me the next day. My boss called, but I had already been out to drag queen brunch, so I was already lit. And so it was not the best of conversations. I was like, so
I would have brought one of the drag queens with me for the talk.
And I shouldn't have even answered the phone. I was like, why did you even answer the phone? So I went to work, and I knew my other boss does not like confrontation. And he didn't even want to look at me that day. I was like, oh, I'm getting a talking to after this shift. And sure, he sat me down. Now, I didn't know there was a videotape. So I watched myself on the videotape. Now, I did blow out my hair that day. I thought my hair looked nice.
Did you do the finger?
I did. You heard, like... I did. Honestly, I don't think what I said was that bad. Like, It wasn't, I didn't call her a bitch. I didn't say, but I was like, we had an interaction where I was like, yeah, it is.
You need to order something.
I think right now and I am laying a low profile, like at work, like it's hard. But yesterday it was warm here, but it's November. And this customer was like, do you have any summer ales on tap? I said, well, it's November. Like, no. And it's something,
I switched to pumpkin ale a while ago.
I was like, and pumpkin's even not like, and sometimes we live in a world now where everyone thinks like they're right. Kind of, and some people, it's like, oh, customer service. Well, sometimes you're a bad customer. There was an article someone wrote about that, but it was just something that happened to me where I was like, it took me a few weeks to talk about. This was a few weeks ago, so I have been laying low, but I was like, ooh, people just will record you and send it. Like, what if
That's
I got
ridiculous.
fired from that? Like,
well, she was doing it from the moment you said you need to order something to be here. She contemplated a plan in her head.
It wasn't even her. The girl that I had words with, it was her friend who videotaped.
They made a plan that was like, okay, we'll order something, but we're going to basically like film and be like, okay, we're going to order something, but we're going to get our money back for this so that we didn't have to pay. It's like, this is a business. It's an establishment. You have to spend money to be here. You can't walk into a restaurant and just sit at a table. And take up a space and not buy anything.
It baffles me.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, because the guy was like, this is how bars work. I was like, I don't know what bars you're going to that you're just coming in and sitting here. And it happened a few times that night. And I've noticed it happens when I work those closing shifts. Mm-hmm. Like, during the day, you just don't go into a bar and sit. Like,
and not get one
thing.
And
not get anything. Like, you have to get something. And people are baffled by this. Or they just want to sit and watch the game on TV. And I'm like,
order something.
You have to order something. Like, I don't know what.
Because what did your boss say?
Well, then I said, well, what would you like me to do in that situation then?
Yeah,
when someone's sitting there, and he was like, be polite. Because I said, I was polite. Like, I was very polite up until I wasn't. But
I was polite initially.
And so, and he was like, then you get, if you ask a few times, they don't order anything, then you get the bouncer, and then you tell them that they have to leave. I was like, okay, because that would have been... that would have been worse, actually. I think if the bouncer like kicked them out, and like so
but that's also kind of almost some bullshit. That's like, you're a woman and the bartender, you need to be polite the whole time, and you never get confrontational. We have the bouncer to get confrontational because it's a large man. I
do wonder if I was a man, how that would have been different.
Yeah,
and if the girl would have been videotaped, like because I've heard men say some stuff behind the bar, and I'm like, ooh, like, okay.
Like it's a weird, like, there's pressure on you to be demure, if we use that little trendy word. Like, there almost is this pressure that's like, you need to be demure and polite because you're the person of service. Mm-hmm. And the reason we have the bartender is to, like, lay the hammer. Because I'm like, you told her, like, this is the policy. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, we're going to skirt the policy by going and sitting over here. And you're like, no, I see you. It's not that big of a bar.
Yeah.
You're still not ordering something. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I gave you the menu. So time to order up.
Yeah. Or get a soda if you don't
Literally.
Drink. You get something.
Because also, the fact that you already have had to say something twice, you're sitting there going, I'm probably getting no tip on this.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm doing my job for your boss, essentially. Mm-hmm. You're like, you're the one that's making money on this, not me.
Not me.
So I could just not fucking care.
It's also that I think when someone is mocking you, not that they were mocking, but they're just sitting there on their phones. Like don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like when
they're
I'm like,
being
well,
assholes.
you're being kind of like in my face. When you're sitting at the bar, you're in my. Now, if they sat at the table for a while, and I've had to go to people and say like, are you guys going to order anything? And they're like, no. I'm like, you have to leave. You've been sitting at the table for 20 minutes. Like, and I've had words with people about this too, that they're like, well, we just need to sit here. No, you don't need to sit here. There's a park. Go sit at the park. Like, this is not, this isn't. It's
so West Village is a nice park over there.
Yeah, so that's what I kind of had to walk off this week, Erica. That was so I had to set up some boundaries for myself, where I was like, when I had the sit down, I was like, I'm not going to work those shifts anymore. The 4 a.m. I was like, I can't, because I can't be getting mad about this. Like, I can't get mad. I don't want that type of confrontation. I don't want that type of energy. So, you don't
want that vibe, T.
I'm sorry, but the vibes in here are off. What if I said that? I was like, your whole vibe is off.
Maybe they would have responded better.
I think so. I'd be like, I don't know what you're giving me right now, but this vibe.
The vibe of this bar is you have to buy something.
What's the vibe? You gotta buy. The
vibe is you buy. The vibe is you pay for a service.
That was my Tales from the Tables. So I didn't do that. Tales from the Tables. I post those on Instagram and social media. I didn't do one recently. I haven't done one in a few weeks because I was like, let's just lay the low under the. Then I was like, ooh, that's a video, all right. Someone took a video.
Okay. My walk it off probably would be. It's definitely going to be traveling related because, my God. A few things. First of all, the TSA, any type of line in the airport, but the TSA security line, people. It is not time to be on your phone. It is time to hustle the fuck up, okay? This woman, TSA line, all right? Because when you get to line, then you get to pick of the security lines. And I take this very competitively because I'm in, I'm out, I know my shit, and I'm TSA pre-check, baby, okay, which is a privilege, all right? People should take that seriously. You get TSA pre-check, I assume you know what the fuck you're doing, okay? That means, like, you've done the paperwork, you fly a lot, you're like, I know what's up, I don't have to take my laptop out, I don't have to take my shoes off. We are grooving, okay?
Grooving.
Okay, but then I'm in Barcelona, I'm coming home. No TSA pre-check for me, but I'm on it. I'm seeing everything. I don't even speak the language fluently, but I'm like, laptops out, this and that. Be aware. It's not that fucking complicated. I'm in line. There's some chick. I picked the line that's fucking moving. I'm like, I got it. I picked correctly. Then there's some girl. Headphones in. Plugged into her phone. Selecting a song. I don't know what she's doing. But she all of a sudden, she's just stopped right at where you put stuff into your bin. And there's people behind her. We're all just standing there. And no one is moving around her. This girl, not moving. And it's as if she is completely unaware that she is in the most game time zone of moving through the TSA, that I'm like, what? First of all, who are you waiting for? Like, I'm like, it's not like she's looking around, like, where's my mom? Did I lose a friend? Just, this is where I'm just gonna stop. Suddenly, I don't want to get on the plane. I don't know what happened. She's sitting there, not texting. I don't know what she's doing on her phone. And so I'm just like, so I don't know the word for go around, but I know the Spanish word for in front. So I'm like, enfrente. And someone turns and looks at me and they go, what? And I'm like, oh, English? I go in front. I'm like, she is literally in between two people and people don't know what to do.
She's just not doing anything.
So then I cut 3 people because I'm like, fuck this. I go right in front of her. I grab a bin. I start doing the shit with my stuff. This girl, unfazed. I have never seen somebody so unfazed of the world around them. Just looking at her phone, even like looks up, looking around, back to the phone. I'm like, I literally made it fully through, and I keep like looking back at this chick, like, is she gonna move at all?
Do whatever you want. She doesn't know she's coming or going. She's
no clue. But there's something with, you can tell people that maybe don't fly much, they're a little lost. And the thing is, I could be hustling and helping people at the same time. Because I'll hear English, I'll hear someone be like, and I'm like, yeah, laptops, Kindles out. And they're like, oh, thank you. I'm like, no problem. But I'm still hustling, and I'll leave them. Like, I'll help you while I'm there, but once my bag goes through,
she's still in that line.
I'm gone.
She's still
she's still there.
She's still waiting.
But there's nothing more frustrating than anybody being on their phone, not paying attention, chatting. I'm like, you come up to the front, it is go time, people.
Could you imagine? This is why, like, when TSA people, I couldn't imagine having to say the same thing over and over.
And no one's listening.
Again, when no one's listening. Like, I see why they given at, like, let's go. Like, come on. Like,
the New York attitude?
Yeah.
I fucking would. I would kick people to the back.
I flew out of LaGuardia and this past weekend, and I felt like no one knew what they were doing too. Like, there was, I think, and it wasn't
The people
even
in
that.
the line?
Yeah, it just seemed a little like no one. Is this everyone's first time flying? Like,
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Because I'm like, how quick can I get this out? Like, let's go
Yeah.
get the belt off, get the shoes out, go. And then I'm like, just taking their sweet ass time. And
Isn't it? I've been in so many countries. I don't speak the language. I was in France having no fucking idea what was going on. Look around.
Yep.
I'd look around. I'd be like, oh, everyone has their
Yep.
liquids in a Ziploc. I'd grab a Ziploc. Blah, blah. My bag got picked to get searched, and they're asking me things, and I'm just like,
remember how good
Hands
looking
off.
the guys were at the airport in Croatia?
Every airport.
Oh my gosh, those guys in Croatia, they were so good looking.
we
The
definitely have
TSA
talked
guy.
about this on this podcast
Have we?
several times.
Because that was
how
my
good
joke.
looking they were.
That was my joke where I was like, I got so flustered going through TSA, and he was like, "Ma'am, put your top back on." I was like, "I'm sorry." They were all. I was like, and then we got to Ireland, and I was like, that man did not know. We did not understand what he was saying.
But we made it through.
But we got
quickly.
through. We got through quickly.
Like, you just look around, you go, oh, everyone's taking their shoes off? Guess I'll take mine off.
Did
like,
I?
It's not that hard.
Have I told you my Marvelous Mrs. Maisel story?
What? You saw her?
Oh.
You saw her in the airport?
Okay. So I was leaving work one night, and it was like 9:00 at night, and I was down at the Christopher Street stop, and this girl was in front of me, and she was looking at her phone, and it was time to scan. Like, people beep their phone to get on the subway.
Oh,
like,
they have the Apple Pay now, yeah.
And she was reading a text message right in front of the turnstile. And I just I'd had a long day. I love that show. Love that show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Watched the whole thing. I had just watched a few weeks before the final scene and the final episode. And I said, are you going to look at your phone or are you going to scan? Like, I said that to the person in front of me, and it turns around and it was her. It was Rachel Brosnahan. And my face was like, oh. And that's exactly what came out of my mouth. Oh. And she goes, damn, girl. And like, then she scanned her phone, and then I saw her husband, who was also on the show. He was in front, and I said, I'm sorry, like, just like that, because if I saw her waiting, I would have gone up to her and said, I do stand-up comedy. I loved that show so much, and I would have said something positive, but that was my moment.
Nah.
And that was it. Now, that being said, they went one direction, I went the other, but also scan your phone. Go, you're at the turnstile.
She was wrong.
Yeah, and I just was kind of like, but then I caught the express train and I got home in 15 minutes. But I was like,
she was still wrong.
yeah, and so it was just kind of funny where.
And she's been a New Yorker a long time.
Well, this girl behind her was just like, when she was like, damn, girl. Now, if somebody said that to me, if someone was like, are you going to go? I would be like, I'm sorry. Like,
No, yeah, because she's wrong.
Yeah.
She's blocking the turnstile.
Yeah. So that was me, Rachel.
She was 100% wrong. Mm-hmm. And also, who does her husband play in the show?
He is the producer of the Gordon show, the who fights with Susie a lot. But then they like,
yeah, I don't
think
feel
his
bad.
name is Mike on the.
Yeah, she definitely got him that role. So you know what? I don't feel bad. Mm-hmm. And she should hustle. She lived in New York a long time.
Yeah,
don't, damn girl. It's like, I don't care that you're on TV now. You know how this works. You want to take the subway? You want to be a real New Yorker? Fucking move.
Yeah, you gotta go. It was funny. The one day I cut these two girls off walking because I was running to a show and I was running to the train, and I got like. There was nowhere for me to go, and I just totally cut them off. And then when I got to the subway, I just missed the train, and then I saw them, and I had to. It was like tail between my legs. I was like, I just want to apologize for cutting you off on the street. I was trying to run to the subway, and they were like, "It's okay." Like we get. I said, I'm sorry about that. Like,
I'm on team. You don't have to apologize because that's New York. And when you're walking in pairs and shit, and if you take up the sidewalk, people are gonna go around you and cut you off.
I hate when
That's what I love about being back here when I'm back in town. I'm like, oh, it comes back, and I love it.
This is a pet peeve of mine. When people have strollers or they have dogs or it's a tight space for two people to kind of like, I could power through and bulldoze my way through, but I like to stand off to the side and let them pass. I would like an acknowledgement. Like, thank you. A head nod. Like, I'm letting you go when I could have just made it tight and powerhoused through with these linebacker shoulders. But instead, I have manners, but also like Look, recognize that. And people don't. That annoys me.
Okay, have you ever been frustrated, though, that men never turn the shoulder? Do you know what I'm talking about? When you walk in the streets of New York, men never, if you're both there in a tight space, men never do the little.
You know why? Because they're always comfortable in their space. No one asks them to get small.
Have you ever been tempted to just knock fucking shoulders with them?
Oh, I've knocked shoulders. When people walk into the subway when I'm trying to get off, and I'm like, or if you run up the stairs when everyone's going and I'm trying to go down, and you bang, like... This is how people get stabbed.
Ooh, I used to work in Midtown, and I have had days where I was like, I'm not turning my fucking shoulder. No. I'm tired of this shit.
Yep.
Of all the men that just nope. I go, well, no. And the faces of men, when you knock their shoulder, and the shock, and they're like, ah, and I go, what? And they're like, and I'm like, you're not going to make room? I'm not going to make room. I'm not fucking doing this dance.
I got into an argument.
Infuriating.
This whole episode is about Teresa's temper, apparently. I got into an argument, this is years ago, on the subway. And it was a packed subway. And I stepped out to let people off, as you're supposed to kind of do, because there's nowhere for people to go. And like, so I stepped off, and then this guy and I, like, he wouldn't move in for me then or something. Like, we had words, and I was like, is this your first time on the subway? Like, I said that to him. I was like, is this your first time? And he was like, well, that was a little aggressive. He was like, that was passive aggressive or something. And I was like, no, that was aggressive. That was straight up. That was straight up aggressive, like in your face. And we had some words for a moment, but I was like, well, you're not like, and I think we made it up then or whatever, because it was a few awkward stops. And I was like, all right, like, so, but
maybe this is how I'm going to meet my husband.
Just yelling at people.
We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to knock a shoulder.
Then you're like, or when you see someone there's a comic, and I'm good friends with her. I saw her the one day talk shit to people on the train, and she was like, come on. And then I was like, what up, girl? And she's like, oh, did you see all that? I was like, I did. And I was like, oh, great.
It wasn't Samantha, what's her name? Bandaras with a B?
No,
Samantha B?
I like her, though.
She had a fantastic joke about people shoving on the train. And it was she's doing this joke about people blocking the train. It's this like long rant about New York, and that's at the end. And I'll never forget sitting there being like, I bet she's talking about the 7 train. And then all of a sudden the joke ends. She's like, have fun in fucking Flushing. And I was like, it was a 7. It was a 7. And she came on stage. I was like, I knew you were talking about the 7. It's the biggest crime of that is the 7 train.
That's funny.
Absolutely. I was like, I live in Queens. I know what you're talking about.
Certain trains. Oh gosh, little New York for you. That was like my rants.
Can I say my other walking off about traveling?
Yeah.
People on planes who take their shoes off.
Okay, that's me. Whoa.
Can I say this though?
Oh my gosh.
Do you take your shoes off before the flight even takes off? I was walking onto the plane. I'm like about to go sit in my seat, and I see these 2 people just shoes off immediately.
Now, do they have socks on?
They did have socks on, but I still was like, the fuck is happening over here?
Okay, I realized I made a joke about this. And then my sister was like, this is recent. And she's like, you take your shoes off on the airplane? I was like, yeah. Because my joke was that I can never put my shoes back on, no matter how many yoga classes I take. It's tight for me to try to maneuver my shoes because my feet get tight on the flight. And
you mean they swell?
My feet swell. Do your feet not swell?
They usually do. That's why I keep the shoes on.
No, I'm not barefoot, but I do kick them off under the seat. And I didn't realize that other people don't do this. And now I'm very embarrassed. This is really bad. Now I've admitted this in public. And I deleted my joke, and then I couldn't delete the thread because I was like, oh God. And so I was like, ooh, I'm doing gross behavior. This is embarrassing. And now I'm admitting it now. So,
buddy, well, this is only our 5th episode, and one of our walk-it-offs is something the other person does.
That's okay. That's okay. I won't do that anymore. Now, flying back from Myrtle Beach, those puppies stayed on.
It's a short flight. If you really need to kick it off. Is that why you kick them off, though? Is because your feet swell? So you kick it off? Oh, but I feel like you got to do compression socks then if your feet swell. And legs swell.
I just got to do. So when you flew back from Europe, you didn't take your shoes off?
I never take my shoes off on a plane. Are you out of your mind?
Well,
I'm in leggings for some nice compression. Socks, shoes.
I'm a little embarrassed about that now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I know. I was like, I don't know. That's gross. I like to pride myself on, having decent behavior, I guess. But
listen, I know you got manicured toes, but keep those puppies on.
No, but I keep the socks on with it. I keep the socks. But I will not do that anymore. I feel gross. I'm a little embarrassed about that. So what's going on over there?
I'm looking at my notes to see what we got to move to next.
Yes.
Okay, because we have some limited time left.
I know.
Okay. This might be an odd pivot. I don't know what segment this goes to, but I didn't know what else you had for this episode.
Go ahead.
Okay. It's going to be a real pivot. Is your family, is St. Anthony big with Italians, or is it just my family?
Just your family.
Really?
I think.
Your family doesn't like pray to St. Anthony?
No.
It's not a common thing?
No.
Okay. So part of my trip, I was in Portugal. Mm-hmm. And apparently he is one of the patron saints of Portugal. Mm-hmm. But I found out why while we were there. Apparently he was on his way to Morocco, and something with his boat crashed into Portugal. So he ended up there, and he was there for a long time. So now he's one of the big patron saints of Portugal. Now, St. Anthony is primarily, I feel like, known for, he's like the saint of lost things. Like a lot of times people pray to St. Anthony if they've lost something, they're looking for it. It's like, pray to St. Anthony, he's going to help you find it. Mm-hmm. So
we do that. My mom does that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I feel like everybody loves St. Anthony. It's big with Italians, but it's very like, my mom couldn't find her wallet one time, and she's like, I'll pray to St. Anthony. And then she's like, I found it. St. Anthony, help me, blah, blah, blah. So for years, this is what I've known St. Anthony for. Now, a funny story in our family is we found this out maybe, 7 years ago or something. Apparently, St. Anthony, all the people listening here, all right, maybe the singles find this very interesting. St. Anthony is apparently the saint that helps you find your one true love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you're supposed to pray to St. Anthony to find your true love.
Oh.
So, ladies, listening, pray to St. Anthony, okay?
Okay. St. Anthony, not St. Valentine. Or what was the Valentine's Day Cupid? What was the whole thing?
Oh, I don't know.
But
is it supposed to be Cosmo and the other one, the twins?
I don't know.
There's two twins, and I know that because my grandfather's Cosmo, and there's a twin, and I don't know if the other one is the love one. I forget.
Pray to St. Anthony to find
So, apparently, St. Anthony is to find your one true love.
Okay.
Now, Angela Spiro found this out years ago. I get a text. She's like, apparently, St. Anthony is who you pray to for your one true love. Now, she goes, the next day, I get a text. She's like, went to the St. Anthony statue in town this morning.
Aww.
Prayed for all my kids to find their one true love. Mm-hmm. At the time, Carla and I were single. My brother was not. He wasn't dating his current wife. He was dating a different girl at the time, who our family didn't really like. And so I was like, I go, did you pray for all of us to find the one true love? My mom was like, yes. And so I was like, well, guess she doesn't like her. And which was like a nice roundabout way of saying it. But they broke up, and my brother married somebody else. So never doubt St. Antonio.
St. Antonio.
St. Antonio. And Carla's now with somebody, and
yeah.
I think that's probably her end game. So
okay.
Me, still has not happened. But you know what? We're going to keep praying to St. Anthony, everybody.
Keep praying.
St. Anthony.
Keep praying.
St. Antonio. That's a fun little fact I learned on my Portugal trip.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Angela was very excited. And then there was a big St. Anthony church, so we went. Lit a candle.
Nice.
So it's kind of, I guess, my talking to God moment was.
That's a good one.
He was very big in our family. My grandmother really liked him, St. Anthony, and one of the main churches we went to growing up was St. Anthony Church. Mm-hmm. So it's like a thing in my family, St. Anthony.
I do love the name Anthony. That's my nephew's name, and so I
very
do love
common.
that. If I ever had a daughter, I liked Antonia. I always thought that was nice. Really pretty. You know where my mind is going right now?
What? You might need to be a little closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry. We can do. Now I'm like stressing about like what I wrote on, because I told my sister-in-law to shut up.
Oh, that's well. You talked about that last week episode. I didn't know it was your sister-in-law. You said family.
Yeah, and
why,
that was
just posted like excitement that Trump won.
Yeah, and it was like, let's get us back to where we need to be, with a bunch of flags and a bunch of like American flags, and just like I don't know what I want. And I was like, dude, shut up. Like, that's what I wrote. And then I don't know. I really don't. I'm a people pleaser, but now I'm stressing about the fact that I wrote that, but then I couldn't delete it because then I hit unfriend, and so
oh shit.
I unfriended, which is fine. You don't have to,
Why? Because it's not a public post?
I guess because you can't, maybe she has settings where like if you're not a friend, you can't comment.
If it's not public, yeah.
Or something. So.
Yeah, I don't know if that deletes the comment. If you block her, it does, I believe.
Oh, so then I was like, because then I should have just deleted it. Then I should have just, because I think I tried to delete it and then it wouldn't let me because I hit unfriend. And I was just like, okay. Like it's hard. I think it's really hard when it's your family with politics. And this is going to be interesting coming into like Thanksgiving and the holidays because it is hard to like, it's, you got to agree to disagree.
Well, do you come from a family that has any mixed marriages?
Yes.
Well, different
races.
No, not races, sorry. I meant of different political parties. I have several marriages in my family, extended family, that, granted, though, it's from a different time. I feel like nowadays, completely uncommon that two people will get married and essentially identify with different political parties.
I think it used to be a lot more before.
Very common.
But now I think because of how Trump is, that it's like now it's a deal breaker. Honestly, if somebody, for me, I'm going to go ahead and say that if I were dating someone and they were a big Trump, I probably wouldn't continue dating them. Like if that was the first date conversation, because I don't feel like you see me, you understand women or you understand what I'm about. And so that would be a deal breaker. I actually know a couple that the guy turned out, they're two men, and they broke up because the one turned into a Trumper, and the other guy,
they were already dating.
Yep. And then he was like, I can't do this. And I think more now than it ever was before that is a deal breaker. So.
Yeah, and in the same way that I've known people that have always voted Republican, and Trump is the first time they have not voted Republican. So it's a true mixed bag, and I understand it either way. And then the same with also did we talk about this off mic about how a lot of people on dating profiles who don't have their job listed, it's often because it's a job that people often assume is a Trump supporter.
Oh,
so it's why a lot of men won't list specifically if they're a cop, fireman, certain jobs. And I've matched with people like not realizing that at first, and then when I talk or have gone on a date with them, the most recent one that it happened, he's like, could you guess what my job is? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, it wasn't listed on the profile, and now I know it usually means one of those things. And so I was like, I'm going to guess you're most likely like a cop or a fireman or something. And he was like, oh, how'd you know? And I said, it's because it's not listed. And then I said, is that because you are Republican or typically vote Republican? And he said, it's because people assume that. And I would find when I had it listed, I just wouldn't get matches.
Oh.
Even if I didn't have Republican listed as like my political affiliation. I understand how that could be frustrating for anyone to be like, because I have this position, people automatically assume I vote a certain way, I think a certain way, I see a certain way. And he didn't. He was like, I don't vote that way. He's like, but if I have that listed, then XYZ is automatically assumed. And I was like, oh, I can understand that. It can be very frustrating. And I even said to him, I was like, I'll be honest with you, I'm a comedian and that's on my profile. I was like, if I was to publicly say I am dating a cop, I would automatically get flack for it for many, many reasons. Oh. Even if I said, oh, he is liberal and he votes liberal. I understand with many, many things, it's like, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, if you have a certain label, people are going to think whatever they want to think.
That's interesting that he didn't put that on the profile. That's interesting.
Oh, I mean, now that he's said that, I see it all the time.
I didn't really want to write when I was trying to do Hinge, like that I do stand-up comedy. I didn't really put that on there, but then a lot of the conversations led to that. Yeah. And like
it would always come up quickly.
Then that's kind of what you're talking about. And then that was like it. And so that was kind of like, oh, okay. Like that was, I'm
like, anything. I'm like, we have a couple minutes left. I'm like, any other segments you want to touch on?
Let's see. Just a little bit.
Any bits? Any bits? Any love life things?
Love life, dating the guy. We're gonna go to we're going to Carnegie Hall this weekend to see a Japanese pianist. I keep saying pianist, and I'm excited. I've never been to Carnegie Hall, so
everybody says it's stunning.
Very excited. So getting cultured. everybody.
Culture little date.
We are also going with his friends to see Gladiator 2. But first I got to see Gladiator 1. And
That is the ultimate like boys weekend. You're like, Gladiator?
well, Gladiator's in a few weeks when that comes out. The Denzel, he got tickets, so we're going on a double date with I've never been on a double date. I just remember that now. I don't think I've ever been with a double. No, I don't think I've been on everyone else's date as the third person, but I've never been on
third wheel, fifth wheel, seventh wheel, whatever the fuck.
Holding my own with the couples, but I don't think I've ever. No, and so I'm excited. That's fun. That'll be fun. So we'll hang out with them, and so it's nice when someone. I will say this: when someone includes you in your life and says, "Oh, we're gonna do this," or like we went to his friend's son's soccer game, and that was fun, and so like that was cool. Like, and
it means a lot.
It does. It really does. It's like little gestures and things like that. That someone.
We've all
wants
had the opposite, where you feel like you're being hidden from someone's life.
Yes, even if they don't mean to do it, when. You feel like, do your friends even know you're dating me? Like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's not a good place to be. And so, but yeah, so Carnegie Hall, everybody. I'm going to wear one of my Amazon dresses and not this one. Showing a lot of thigh on this show today. Okay. But
I'm like, I could do a fun little travel story real quick or a little bit.
Do a bit.
Let me hear the bit. Okay, I want to hear a little bit. Okay, so since I'm new to trying out therapy stuff.
Okay.
How do you feel about this? I have this as a concept, and I've gotten mixed reviews on this from therapy friends. How do you feel about this? It's kind of an opening to this bit of. I feel like if people say, "Oh my God, I love my therapist so much," it's time for a new therapist. How do you? I feel like therapists. Yes, you should like your therapist. You should connect with them. You should feel comfortable sharing with them. However, they should be pushing you to do better. There should feel a little bit of this, like, when you do something that wasn't the best decision and wasn't essentially maybe what you should have done. There should be this thing that you're like, I feel a little like, I got therapy and I got to tell them about this Monday.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? There should be a little bit of this accountability. You should be a little annoyed with them in a good way because they're holding you accountable. And they're pushing you to be better. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that? You're someone that has been in therapy for a while. I don't know how long, but you know what I'm saying.
My therapist got let go.
What?
Yeah, my therapist that I liked got let go abruptly because they made budget cuts from where I go to therapy. No. It's through the state. And so I was like, my therapist ghosted me. She actually made that joke.
Oh, fuck.
And so like, cause I got a call like, hey, they put me with someone else and she seems cool. We had a session and it's included in my health insurance. That's why I do it. Cause I was like, it's, but I did get like a final session with my therapist and, I appreciated her. Cause I feel like she gets me. Cause like, I felt like, cause I don't know. I was like, oh damn. Like, so she got let go.
Oh damn.
So I was like, oh man.
But do you understand what I'm trying to say? Do you ever do something and you
need them to you want them to, you don't want someone to coddle you. You want someone to push you like that you're making growth.
Yeah.
And that you're
I almost feel like you made a comment to me where you were like, I gotta talk to.
Yeah, I gotta tell. Like, do you lie to your therapist?
I gotta tell her about this, and there's almost. I hate to use the word guilt, but I can't think of a better word. But there almost is something that's part of your therapy is helping you strive to be better, and it's pointing out things you're becoming aware of. That then, when you do those things, you should be like, fuck. Yeah. I talked about this in therapy, and I just did it again.
Well, it's like
I don't know the polite way to say that.
Yeah.
But the part that I make it funny, I think, is I say, like, I have friends that have been in therapy, and I think with the same therapist too long, that we should instill a new rule, especially if I have to hear about your therapy all the time and how much you love your therapist all the time. New rule is I get to call your therapist once a month and check in and make sure you're telling them everything. Because I have some friends I think are leaving some shit out. I want to be funny. Like, did you tell them? My friends have done things that I'm like, does the therapist know about this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, and you've been in therapy how long? And you're still doing this? This? I feel like you're leaving this out. And then you're like, I love my therapist so much. I'm like, what happens in your therapy room? Because I feel like if I said that to a therapist, they'd be like, let's unpack that a little bit. I know therapies don't tell you what to do, but I feel like they would direct you to be like, and so that's, fill in the word. bad.
Yep.
And let's not.
You're codependent on your therapist.
You know what I mean? I feel like there's something with this concept. As
There
many of us
is.
are in therapy. I think therapy is good. But
There
as
is.
a new to being back in therapy, it's interesting that I'm like, there's a balance that I'm like, yeah, I want to like the therapist, but at the same time, I've been frustrated with therapists that I feel don't challenge at all and don't offer any feedback at all. And they're just like,
Oh, I
that
have
does sound
jokes about
hard.
that.
And I'm like, that's fucking it? That sounds hard? The fuck am I
Oh,
here for?
I have a whole joke, but I can't. I'll save it for next time.
Save it for next time?
I'll save it for next
All
time.
right, you tell me
on
your
that
therapy
one.
bit next time.
I'll save
we have
it
to
for
wrap.
next session.
But
Next
there's
session.
something there.
There is something there. Yes.
Know what I
We're
mean?
gonna workshop that next time.
There's something there.
Yep.
I think it's a funny concept to be like, I should be allowed, if you talk to me about your therapy all the time, I'm allowed to call and check in.
Yep.
And be like, hi, I'm a friend. I'm a friend of Teresa's.
I'm phoning a friend. I want to tell you what she did
I'm a
last
friend
night.
of Teresa's.
She might have told you she had 3 drinks. She had 8. Okay.
I don't know.
We do have to go though. We do. We
I
have
don't know
to.
if she told you. She commented on her sister-in-law's post.
She said, yeah, that was what she did. She commented and wrote, "Shut up."
Then she
Dude,
unfriended
shut
her.
up. And then she unfriended her. So growth.
She needs
growth.
she might need some extra sessions
Now
before
she-
Thanksgiving.
Now she feels bad about it. Doesn't know how to say I'm sorry.
Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you,
gotta
everybody.
go.
Thank you, Erica. Big dismount.
Yeah. If you want extra episodes, join the Patreon. Patreon.com/shootersgottashoot. Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Talk to you next week.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.